Now we move on to the gadolinium contrast agent, which is the most commonly used contrast agent in MRI imaging. Gadolinium containing MRI contrast agents are often termed as simply GADO or GAD, used for enhancement of vessels in MR angiography or for brain tumor enhancement. It is not so that it is not being used for other studies, but it is mostly being used for MR angiography or for brain tumor enhancement. For large vessels such as the aorta and its branches, the gadolinium dose can be as low as zero point 0.1 millimole per kg body mass. Higher concentrations are often used for finer vasculature. For the thin vessels or for to check the more precise vessels, we go for the higher concentrations. Otherwise, zero point 0.1 millimole per kg is per body mass is enough for the large vessels also. Gadolinium chelates do not pass the blood-brain barrier because they are hydrophilic. As we all know, blood-brain barrier is something which doesn't allows various agents to pass into the ECF. So we can say gadolinium chelates also is one of the agent which is not being passed through the blood-brain barrier because they are hydrophilic. But this is contradicting. Blood-brain barrier allows water to pass, but being hydrophilic, why it is not allowing gadolinium chelate to pass? It is because gadolinium hydrophilic means hydro means water and philic means lover. So water lover is the gadolinium chelate is a water lover. As we have studied, gadolinium contrast agents are water soluble. So being water soluble, it will reach the blood-brain barrier, but the water agent as we know in the chelate, only the water agents is out of that cage. Sorry. So only that water exchanges out. So the water molecule from the gadolinium chelate is being exchanged to the ECF, not anything else. Neither the gadolinium, neither the other atoms. So it is said the blood-brain barrier being high doesn't allow the gadolinium chelate to pass, being hydrophilic. Next, thus these are useful in enhancing lesions and tumors where the gadolinium leaks out. So now next point is, so if we have a tumor and we can see the gadolinium in that image, it will be possible if only the blood-brain barrier breaks down. So the blood-brain barrier breaks down. This signifies that the visualization of the lesion only signifies that the blood-brain barrier is breakdown. So the gadolinium chelates enhances the lesions and tumors where the gadolinium leaks out. Gadolinium leaks out means the gadolinium has passed through the blood-brain barrier and reached the lesion or the tumor, and it has enhanced the tumor. So we get to know the pathology over there. Otherwise, we could have not got to know. In the rest of the body, the gadolinium initially remains in the circulation but then distributes into the interstitial space or is eliminated by the kidneys. These are the types of the gadolinium contrast agents. Gadolinium contrast agents, as I have described earlier, the extracellular fluid agents, blood pool agents, organ specific agents, these are the types of gadolinium contrast agents. So in the extracellular fluid agents, we have ionic contrast agent that is by the name Magnevist and Dotaref. In neutral, we have Omniscan, which is most commonly used, Prohance, Gadavest, Optimark. Then in the blood pool agents, we have albumin binding gadolinium complexes, gadolinium agent which binds with the albumin. That is considered in the blood pool agent. That is the ablavir and gadecoletic acid. Then we have polymeric gadolinium complexes, which includes gadomelitol and gadamor I7. Then we have the organ specific agents, that is Primovest and Multihance, which are used as hepatobiliary agents. Then we have the gadolinium contrast agent, which are being approved for human use. Presently, 9 different types of gadolinium containing contrast agents are available. That is gadoterid, dotarem. In different territories, we have the different names. So these are the different names of the gadolinium contrast agent. So presently, there are the 9 types. So the most commonly being used by us is the Omniscan, that is the gadodiamide. So gadoterid, that is dotarem, gadodiamide, Omniscan, gadobenate, multihans, gadopentate, magnivis, magnigita, gado, MRT, ratiofarm, gadoteridol, prohans, gadoversitamide, optima, gadoxetate, primovist, gadobutrol, gadovist. Then we have the liver contrast agents. Liver contrast agents are the iron magnetite paramagnetic agents, which makes liver black on T2 weighted image and mets show up as bright white. So we can see in the image, the liver is being shown as the black, and this is a T2 weighted image, and the mets are showing up as the bright white. So this is the effect of the iron magnetite superparamagnetic agent. And we use further agents which are being used as the contrast agent, that are natural products with high manganese concentration, such as blueberry and green tea, can also be used for T1 increasing contrast enhancement. Blueberry juice and green tea is also being used as the contrast agent, MRI contrast agent, because they also shorten the T1 relaxation time, and they increases the contrast enhancement because they have high concentration of manganese. Second is perfluoron, a type of perfluorocarbon, has been used as a GI MRI contrast agent for pediatric imaging. For the imaging of GI tract of small children, we use perfluoron, which is a type of perfluorocarbon. Then a wide variety of oral contrast agents can enhance images of the GI tract. They include gadolinium and manganese chelates. We have studied about gadolinium chelate. Similarly, in the manganese chelates, in the place of the gadolinium, we have the manganese ion and the further atoms surround the manganese in the form of a cage, or iron salt for T1 signal enhancement. Barium sulfate, air, and clay have been used to lower T2 signal. Then we have other contrast agents for MR colonography and MRCP, that is magnetic resonance cholangiopancreatography. We have water saline contrast, negative oral contrast. Negative oral contrast includes geritol, blueberry juice, pineapple juice. Yes, the question arises, pineapple juice is being used as contrast. Yes, pineapple juice and blueberry juice are being used as the contrast agents for the MRCP studies. This is the negative contrast agents. Negative contrast agents, as told earlier, blueberry juice, pineapple juice, geritol. These contrast agents make the stomach contents black. That is, on the image we will get the all the other stomach organs as black in MRCP. Only the bile duct which we want to study, that is bile duct, which will be enhanced and will be appeared as white. Bright signal will be given from that bile duct. This is because of the geritol, blueberry juice, or the pineapple juice given to the patient. What happens? Iron present in the geritol and the manganese present in the blueberry juice and the pineapple juice increases the secretion of the gallbladder, which releases the bile juice, and due to which we get a high signal from there, and the other organs are other stomach contents are black, but the bile duct is being visible as the white image. This is the MRCP image. This is the MRCP image being taken after giving the pineapple juice. So we can see the other stomach contents as being black, but we can see the gallbladder and the bile duct as being enhanced and being given as the white image. So this negative contrast agent helps to visualize the bile duct more clearly and helps to diagnose it more uh, definitively. Then we have the side effects of MRI contrast. The most common so-called normal side effects of MRI contrast agents are mild and temporary in nature. So mild and temporary side effects include that is warmness, pain or burning at the injection site, the site from where the IV injection is being given. We can feel the patient can feel the pain or the burning sensation. That is the some. It will feel like there is some heat. A lot of heat is generating at that portion. Low blood pressure might reduce, minor skin rash, mild headaches, changes in this minor skin rash, mild headaches is a side effect of the normal X-ray contrast agent also. This you all have studied. Changes in blood clotting, lightheadedness, and nausea. Typically, these side effects do not require any treatment. Then we have gadolinium containing contrast agents usually have no effect on blood chemistries, hematologic studies, except transient elevation of serum iron and bilirubin levels. So we can say gadolinium containing contrast agents does not affect the blood. The blood composition is not affected in, but only the problem that happens is there is the rise in the serum iron and bilirubin levels, and this rise occurs 4 to 6 hours post injection. If we give the injection to the patient of gadolinium contrast agent, then after 4 to 6 hours of the injection, we can see a rise in the serum iron and the bilirubin levels of the patient. But after 24 to 48 hours of the injection, we can see that the serum iron and the bilirubin levels have again dropped down to their normal levels. The rise they have gained is being lowered down to the normal levels after 24 to 48 hours. The mechanism of these elevations is uncertain but may be related to mild hemolysis. Deoxygenated sickle erythrocytes align perpendicular to a magnetic field in vitro studies, raising the possibility of occlusive complications in patients with sickle cell anemia. So we can say in sickle cell anemia, when if a patient with sickle cell anemia is placed in the magnetic field or the for the MRI examination, we can see the deoxygenated sickle red blood cells are aligned perpendicular to the magnetic field, which creates the complication of the obstructions in the vessels as they align perpendicularly, so they can stop the blood flow through that vessel, or they can reduce the blood flow. So but till date no clinical reports have been found of this potential problem. In vitro studies we have seen this possibility, but no clinical reports have been found till date. Now we have the allergic reaction. The most common allergic reaction symptoms to MRI contrast agents include swelling of the face, rashes, itching, sweating, watery or itches eye, and shortness of breath. Frequently, the reactions are mild and can be controlled with medication. That is being said by the radiology info. If left untreated, allergic reactions can become serious and even life-threatening. The patient is advised to contact the doctor as soon as the allergic reactions appear. This is the complication of the gadolinium contrast agent, nephrogenic systemic fibrosis. This is termed also as in short NSF. NSF was first described in the medical literature in 2000. The first case was NSF was identified in 1997. The cause of NSF is unknown, but it has been reported only in patients who have severe kidney disease. So we can say if a patient with a chronic kidney disease or severe kidney disease, kidney function is not proper, improper kidney function patient if going for contrast MRI studies, then there is a risk of NSF. Although the cause why NSF is being caused, it is still not clear, but patients with kidney disease are being detected with nephrogenic systemic fibrosis. Nephrogenic systemic fibrosis causes fibrosis of the skin and connective tissues throughout the body. So it is not a mild thing, but it is very harmful, as we can say the NSF causes fibrosis of the complete skin and connective tissues throughout the body. Patient develops skin thickening that may prevent bending and extending joints. Joint movement is being restricted due to the NSF, resulting in decreased mobility of the joints. NSF usually starts in the lower extremities. We can say the lower limbs are from the lower limbs the NSF begins and it spreads to the whole body. Fibrosis can also develop in the diaphragm muscles, in the thigh and lower abdomen and lung vessels. Over time, NSF becomes worse and can cause death. As already kidney function is not proper, and upon that NSF is being created into the body, so this can become, with time it can become worse and worse and lead to death. Nephrogenic systemic fibrosis is most likely caused by free gadolinium. If free gadolinium ion interacts with the body, then the nephrogenic systemic fibrosis can be caused. It can be prevented by screening patients for renal disease. As I have told earlier, the gadolinium contrast agent raises the serum bilirubin level. So, serum bilirubin level as well as the iron concentration. So, before and nephrogenic systemic fibrosis is being caused by in the patients which are the sufferer of the chronic kidney disease and improper kidney function. So if we, before giving the contrast agents, if we do the test of the kidney, that is the kidney function test, if we do, we will get to know the creatinine levels, serum urea and the creatinine level. Most commonly considered is the creatinine level. So as we all know, if the creatinine level is high, we get to know that the kidney function is improper. So if we do the test of the kidney function test, then we can prevent the patient from this nephrogenic systemic fibrosis. So it is the most considered point that we have to check for the estimated creatinine clearance before giving the MRI contrast to the patient. Then we have the contraindications of MRI contrast agent. Patients having history of chronic kidney disease, renal failure, that is no normal renal clearance. As I told earlier, if a patient of chronic kidney disease will come for the contrast MRI study, then there will be a very high chance of getting nephrogenic systemic fibrosis. So these patients are being avoided for the contrast studies. Then allergic history with the contrast media. Pregnant patients are not being considered for the contrast MRI studies. Thank you.